What's cracking, people? We are back here for another episode from What's the Word Entertainment. Of course, I'm your host, Sherm, and joined by my usual co-host, Obed, and I'd like to make an official announcement today that I'm happy to say that Obed is going to be the official co-host along with myself here on What's the Word Entertainment. So moving forward, he'll be working with me side by side, making this thing happen. And I know with his passion and his consistency, I know he definitely make the show a success. So great to have you again here and new, and definitely welcome aboard officially full time, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, Sherm. Thank you very much. I thank you for the gracious opportunity. Who knew the senior superlative of motor mouth would work out in my favor? But here we are. All jokes aside, I'm happy to help share this time with you, America, and anyone else we can rope into the fray.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. So let's just get this started and let's get going here. First topic today, I want to start with the NBA. I'm going to start with some news a little bit earlier this week. I believe Steve Kerr, coach of the Golden State Warriors, announced that DeMarcus Cousins is going to make his season debut somewhere around January 18th. So maybe by end of next week. I think they're going to be playing the Clippers. So this will be the first time he's played since last January 26th. 2018, since tearing his left Achilles. Now, I think it was also said that they're going to insert him directly in the starting lineup. I mean, obviously it's Boogie Cousins, so he's an all-star. He's going to be a starter. But do you think it's a good idea to just put him right back in the fray in the starting lineup since he hasn't played with these guys as of yet?
I mean, I don't know what the practices are like. I don't know what, the program for rehabilitation that they've been bringing him on with has been like. We've seen him go one-on-one with Kevin Durant and end the game in a fantastic fashion of a dunk on Kevin Durant.
Yeah, see that too.
They're definitely the Warriors, I believe, are very much hurting as far as big man help underneath. They could actually show us like kind of the old school style of play where we've got a big physical guy underneath. You have great shooters at every position, so you don't need to take as many shots as possible. Is he healthy enough to go back in there and be a starter? Maybe they feel that he is. I don't know. They've been bringing him along slowly since the trade for how long now? Like almost the entire season, basically. I mean, we're at the halfway mark. They're on pace for like 54 wins, whatever that means. But I think if they throw him out there, I don't think it's that bad. I'm sure they know what they're doing. They know that he is going to be a big part of them, at least competing for a championship this year, because a lot of other teams out there could take them in the West.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned him putting it back in, going big, because Draymond has been playing. So Draymond's a 4, but he's been playing some 5, which he can play, but he's been struggling. So I think it's a good idea to bring Boogie in. That way he can play his traditional 5 spot. Put Draymond at the 4, and because Draymond's been struggling, to be honest with you. He's having his worst season, I think, to date of his career, shooting wise, from the field. So they're going to need that. But they had a big win last night over the Bulls. The big three, of course, Curry, Clay, and Durant, I believe, combined for about 80 points. And Curry moved up on the 3-point list, passing Jason Terry. I think here Curry going for 28. Clay went for 30. KD went for 22. So they're gonna get in the groove, looking like the Warriors of old. But when they put Boogie in there, it's gonna be something really nice. Obviously, it's gonna be some. I feel like they're just gonna continue to dominate. Yeah. And just roll through. As long as he's healthy, I don't think they should push Boogie, right away. Let him play, 20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Something like that. They're going to have to monitor his minutes. He's going to be on a quote-unquote pitch count, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just, because I just think from the Achilles, that's a devastating injury to come back from, man. That's a rough injury. So it's going to take him some time. I don't know. Did you see earlier this week, I think, was it against the Grizzlies when Steph got called for a travel, doing the James Harden official step back, taking 5, 16 steps, whatever it is. And then after you saw it too, he threw up the little 1-3 on his chest for 13. Yeah, it's funny. And then Steve Kerr immediately comes up, runs to the floor. He's like, "Are you gonna call that now? You want to start calling that, yo?"
Yeah.
And, I thought that was hilarious. But Harden's getting away with it almost every day.
It's funny that you mentioned that because you look at it and everybody knows. If you understand the game of basketball, like I don't know who the kid on the Utah Jazz is. He had a picture perfect textbook step back for a 3 jumper, and it was great. And I watched James Harden almost lead the league in points in the NBA, almost lead the league in points per game in the NBA. With this, I can't watch individuals who played in the NBA who are now at the desk talk about what James Harden is doing and just overstep the idea that he's taking 4 steps on a step back. Like after the carry, is it 2 steps? Is it 3 steps? What is it? Is he carrying?
Yeah. And that whole Euro step thing to me is garbage too. Like that's if you look at a Euro step, they actually pick up both of their feet, come down, even if it's a slight pickup, and then they jump again. That's to me, that's a travel. In the old NBA, that would have been a travel 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice move. Don't get me wrong. It allows you to drive to the hole more, but it's a travel as well too. So I don't get how they're not calling that.
They let Ginobili take that all the way to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Moving on, as we mentioned, Harden, the Rockets had a big win over the Cavs last night. Harden went off for another 40-point triple-double. I mean, 43, 10, and 12. I mean, yeah, let's just face it. He's going off once again. And I think I don't know if you can't remember, we talked about this last week. Is he the greatest offensive player in the game or of all time? I think his GM said he thinks he's the greatest offensive player of all time or in the consideration, which is a bold statement. Now he noticed how I like how he said one of the greatest offensive players, not just one of the greatest players. Because you know why? All James Harden does is play offense. He plays no defense. So that's why he's never considered as one of the greatest players in general. And I think that's when we did our show last week. I didn't put him in my top 5 as top 5 players, in the NBA because he only plays one side of the ball.
Yeah.
Do you
gotta be a two-way player? You got to be a two-way player to be considered one of the best. If you're giving up 40 points and only scoring 41, I can't really say you've helped the team as best you could.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree. The Lakers had another bad loss last night against the Jazz, 113-95. Donovan Mitchell went out for 33 and 9. LeBron is still out with that groin injury. I believe he's going to miss a couple more games, if I'm not mistaken. They need him back ASAP because the longer he's out, they're just going to continue to fall. Now, I mean, obviously he'll come back. Even if he comes back, let's say, within a week or two, they'll still make the playoffs. But that team chemistry, that morale is hurting if they keep losing.
Absolutely. I feel like having LeBron James out there changes the entire dynamic of what you're able to do, what your team can accomplish, what your team can just believe in their ability to do versus him not being in the lineup.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, man. Yeah. So they need him to come back soon. So let's move on from the NBA. Let's talk a little bit about college football. This past week, of course, we had the College Football Playoff National Championship game. And surprise to me, well, maybe not a big surprise, but Clemson came out with the victory over Bama, 44-16. I think that was the biggest surprise of how dominant this game was on the Clemson side. I did not expect this though. I predicted Bama to win. I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised that Clemson won, but in the fashion that they did win, I mean, that was crazy. The freshman QB Trevor Lawrence went off. He was 20 of 32 for 347 yards, 3 TDs. Their freshman wide receiver Justin Ross looked nice too. He had 6 catches for 150.
Rookie freshman. I mean, just dirty out there.
The 2 one-handed catches that he had, whoo, incredible. Yeah, I mean, Clemson, they just completely dominated, especially just shutting Bama's offense down. That was a big surprise. I mean, Tua had a decent game, 22 of 34, 295, 2 scores, but also 2 picks. Yeah. Judy had 5 catches for 139 and a score.
Yeah.
I mean, is it safe to say that Clemson is legitimately moving up as far as the best team in college football over Bama?
I see. It's tough for me to say over Bama. I would say that they are now on par at the same tier. Clemson would need to go and roll off at least 2 more national championships for me to say that they have over-encompassed what Alabama has done. Alabama has been a mainstay. While Clemson has peaked and Clemson has been there, Clemson has been in the discussion to then go out and just be dominant and be like, we're rolling this off. We're taking home a crystal ball. We're taking home a 50-pound whatever. That is still Alabama territory. Did they win this year? Fantastic. Did they win 2 years ago? Fantastic. Right. Now, I think Brent Venables deserves a lot of credit for what he was able to accomplish in play calling and just giving Tua things he had not seen before, giving Tua things that he was unaware was could have a wrinkle in it somewhere, right? I mean, I think the first interception that Tua threw, I don't know if that was from the play call or just the fact that the cornerback stayed flat-footed and didn't go with Judy.
Yeah, he jumped the route, and I think it was that outside that slant route that was going. He read it well. I think that was just a good read by that corner on that one. I'll agree with you there.
And, I look at, how bad was Alabama's defense giving up the kind of throws to, I don't really know how great Trevor Lawrence is. Maybe I need to see more of him in this next coming year. But Alabama's defense in the secondary just looked slow, just looked terrible. They looked like they couldn't get any push up front. It looked like a Patriots defense of old to me, where they just couldn't get any push up front and get to the quarterback and get him off the spot. You let this guy get comfortable, who fine, prove me wrong, but I do not believe Trevor Lawrence is this great quarterback people are talking about. All of these guys are putting up these stats, but I just don't see them as these, like, reading the defenses and finding the sweet spots and being predictive,
kind of.
Where they impose their will on the defense, right? Surgical. These guys are not surgical anymore. There was questionable play calling on that 4th down call from Alabama. Did you really send the kicker in as the lead blocker for the whole?
Yeah, I had that fake kick. Oh,
whose man is this? What do you
just someone get your man's over here, dude. Right. Like, Will, but Nick Saban kind of shouldered the blame after the victory. After the loss in the press conference, he really put it on him, didn't prepare his guys for that. But I just think the Clemson defense. We talked about it all week long. That D line was so legit. You got 4 starters now. Now Dexter Lawrence didn't play in the game, and they still dominated. But he still, like I said, have legitimate NFL talent on that defensive line of Clemson's. So that's what really helped them out a lot. They got pushed. They really shut Tua down. I think Jalen Hurts came in towards the end of the game.
Garbage time. They conceded.
Yeah, well, right. I think that's definitely true. But I mean, now I know Trevor Lawrence looks good right now. Is he? To your point, is he going to be this immaculate, amazing quarterback? He had a great year. We'll see. He was going to be, obviously he's a freshman, so he's got at least 2 more years to play. We'll see what happens. If he could be the first quarterback in the 2021 draft pick. Who knows? But somebody else may come about. But we definitely want to see more of Clemson. I just want to say, but as far as being Clemson and Alabama, I would definitely say they're on the tops as the elites of the elites in college football. In the last 4 seasons, Clemson's record 55-4, Alabama's 55-4.
Wow.
4 college football playoff appearances apiece, 2 national championship wins apiece. Yeah. So, they're right there. Even though the stats are there, the stats are obviously equal, but I still think Alabama just has a slight edge. Now, the gap is shortened very much. Absolutely. I think, it's a matter of a fraction that Alabama has the edge just because of Nick Saban. But Dabo, I think I've said it before in our earlier podcast or videos that Dabo has really turned this program around since he's arrived at Clemson, and it's really kudos to the Clemson Tigers for getting that victory in that dominating fashion over Alabama. But speaking also of Alabama, Jalen Hurts was announced that he entered his name into the transfer protocol. And I think it was yesterday, this past week, he visited University of Maryland, and I think he's going to visit Miami as well. Now, since he just graduated in December, he does have the ability to transfer and play immediately next year. So obviously, he's a proven winner. The 6'2" junior who's 26-2 as a starter at Bama. He won national championship with them. He's over 5,600 passing yards, 48 touchdowns. I think I would say better off him going to Miami rather than Maryland is a better look. Obviously, Miami is a greater program right now than Maryland is. Maryland's coming off that whole controversy with DJ Durkin and everything, which hurt recruiting and all that. Yeah. So I think if he's going to choose one of those two, of course, I would choose Miami.
Yeah.
And plus, you get to be in Miami. What the hell's in Maryland? That you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think he's excited about Amazon HQ2 showing up to Crystal City, right? That's not you're not gonna pull me with that one, bro.
Yeah, I think what's gonna get him is South Beach. Yeah, you know what I mean, more than the Chesapeake Bay. So you know what I mean?
Jiggity, come on, bro.
No, I don't think he's worried about eating Old Bay on everything. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Sherman, you live in Maryland proper, dog. I don't understand why people are so pressed over some Old Bay wings. Get these salty wings out of here, dog.
I ain't gonna lie. I had some Old Bay wings the other day, and I'm just slamming. I ain't gonna lie, man. But dude, when I was in New York, we didn't have that in New York like that. No, my family's had a can of Old Bay in a cabinet for like 16 years. I never knew what that was. I was like, oh, there's some seasoning there. I don't know.
Yeah, let's put it on.
Dude, when I came to Maryland, I was like, yo, what the deuce is this? And I ain't gonna lie saying it, but dude, I don't think it's crazy as everyone makes it out to be. No, so I'll go with you on that one. Some other news, what I thought was interesting this week in college football, that Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins, he announced that he's going to enter the NFL draft. Obviously he's a junior, but he had another year left. But he's going to enter the NFL draft. Obviously he's probably going to be the number one quarterback picked in the draft. But also with Ohio State, the redshirt freshman quarterback Tate Martell entered his name into the transfer protocol, which I thought was interesting. I kind of thought it could happen because backup quarterback from Georgia, Justin Fields, announced that he's going to be going to Ohio State because he's leaving Georgia because obviously Jake Fromm has that position. But I don't know if you know this kid, Tate Martell. He's from Vegas. He was featured in the Netflix show QB1 Beyond the Lights. I like this kid. He has the capability to scramble. So, he's kind of giving up. I thought he was going to have that starter spot, but I think he figures Justin Fields is going to come in and take it from him. Yeah. So I didn't really like that so much. Like, dude, stay there, prove yourself. So, but, what have you. So we got, Jalen Hurts is entering his name in. Tate Martell's entering his name in. I think this might become the new norm in college football that you lose your spot or you don't get a chance at right away. They're just going to say, screw it, I'm out, deuces, and go to another school. I don't know if you agree with that or not, or should they stay there and just prove themselves to earn that spot?
I mean, we're talking about these are millennials that we're dealing with, right? These are the generation after millennials we're dealing with, right? This is the Tinder swipe left, swipe right, 6 second or less paying attention span. Right. Why stick around? College football is smart. They've created free agency. That's all this is free agency, right? Yeah. Put your name out there. Let them swoon you. Let them go to the highest bidder. Kids don't need to stick around. And the way that the college football runs right now, it's about who's scoring now, who's playing now. I don't think it's much like these are the LeBron James fans, right? I can go and be me wherever I am. I don't need to go. Think of the rich history and tradition of this organization. Peace, fam. Nah, they got an offer over here. I'm out. That's what these kids are about, and college football has accepted it. Hey, we know what the coaches are doing. They're stockpiling plays, and you guys want to make money. So go ahead and go find some place to play. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how that affects NFL in the long term, but it is what it is. We're just going to have to go with it. I think it empowers the players. More power to them.
Yeah, I think you agree, and I like the analogy that it's pretty much a free agency type of thing. So yeah, I guess it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But moving on, let's go over to the NFL now. A lot of coaching changes happening this past week. We'll start off with in Arizona. The Cardinals hired former Texas Tech head coach Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury heard that Jalen Hurts was going in the transfer window, and he was like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just thought that was funny. He was let go by Texas Tech in November, hired as offensive coordinator at USC in December. Now he said, "Yo, I'm out. I got a better job in Arizona." So he's going to work with Josh Rosen in Arizona.
Is he going to work with Josh Rosen in Arizona, or is he going to draft Kyler Murray #1 overall?
Oh, got him. Yeah, but now Kyler Murray hasn't announced that he's entering the draft yet. But I like what you're thinking there. Yeah, you know what I mean. He's got a decision to make. But do you like the move that Cliff kind of just said, "All right, peace out, USC. I'm at," you know what I mean? Just like less than a month ago.
I think it's not. Again, this goes back to this is the generation now. These people there's no loyalty, right? There's no loyalty. Look at where the marriage, the divorce race is at. There's no loyalty anymore, right? Yeah. There's no lock it in. You and me are doing this together. Let's see what we can build. It's rough. He felt empowered enough that, and honestly, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I got cachet off my name playing in college football. I had cachet off of being on as a coordinator, almost head coach scenario in many of the places I played, coached. I can always come back to college game. If I go and I muck this up, I can come back. And then once my name is out of the druthers again, they can say, "Oh, hey, this guy's got an opportunity now." Or I'll take a year off like Mike McCarthy because I'm not going to get the Jets job. And then I'm going to go ahead and come back next year. Right? Like he knows that to get an opportunity in the NFL puts his foot in the door. If he loses out, he'll just come back whenever the dust is settled.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a pretty good resume. He's worked with some good quarterbacks. He's worked, obviously, my boy Patrick Mahomes, Case Keenum, so he's worked with some pretty decent quarterbacks, and I think that's what trying to drew him to the Cardinals is that a young quarterback in Josh Rosen there, so to hope to develop. Yeah. So I think we'll see how that works out. They've got a lot of other holes to fill, so we'll see. Other big news: the Buccaneers hired former Arizona head coach Bruce Arians as their head coach, and they also bring in Todd Bowles, former Jets head coach, as the defensive coordinator. I think that's a good matchup. There they previously worked together. So Bruce Arians I was surprised he took the Tampa job. It was rumored earlier late last year, that he was looking going Cleveland Browns job actually. And it's funny, I like the Browns where they are now more than I do the Buccaneers. The defense is reformed. You got a young QB in Johnny Manziel. Add some pieces there. So I was kind of surprised. I guess he wants to work, maybe help develop Jameis Winston. You've still got Mike Evans now. Speaking of the Buccaneers, Deshaun Jackson, I know wants out of there. So I don't know how well the Buccaneers are going to do with Arians. It's really going to improve them much. But I do like Arians as a coach. So I guess you'll see what happens there in Tampa Bay. I mean, do you think it's a good hire for the Bucs?
I mean, I guess so. I think it's a good hire for the Bucs with Arians. If anybody can get a maximum amount out of a quarterback, it's probably Bruce Arians. If anybody's going to put in maybe not an air raid offense, but an offense where we're going downfield most of the time, it's definitely Bruce Arians. Now, Todd Bowles, looking at his 4-year tenure with the Jets. Football Outsiders had the Jets DVOA. It's like defensive something variance over whatever, accuracy over field, whatever. He was 5th in 2015. 21st in 2016, 18 in 2017, 21st in 2018. I don't know if Todd Bowles is the answer. Maybe if he's got a bunch of stars, he can put them together. Maybe he'll have Bruce Arians stepping in and being like, hey, what are you doing? Da-da-da-da. I can tell you that he didn't have much offense with those defenses, so potentially that probably would drag them down. But I think it's been with some of the coaching hires, new coaches versus old coaches. Are the old coaches going to adapt their game to keep up with the Madden-esque that the new coaches are bringing in or not?
Yeah, they've got to improve that defense in Tampa Bay for sure. They were giving up way too many points last year. They were one of the worst, I think, defensively in the league. Yeah. So hopefully Bowles can turn it around. But moving on, I know the Broncos, they've hired a new coach. They took the Bears defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. They gave him a 4-year deal with a 5th-year team option. Gary Kubiak steps away from his offensive coordinator offer. Do I think that the Broncos need a defensive-minded coach as their head coach? No. Well, I think obviously he had success in Chicago. Obviously, with the Bears had the #1 defense, so hopefully he'll have some influence in Denver. But I think Denver already had a very good defense, obviously led by Von Miller. But they really need someone to help out Case Keenum. They've got some. They're inconsistent at the wide receiver spot. So I think they needed a more offensive-minded coach to help in Chicago. Yeah. So I was kind of confused by that hire. But, to each its own. The Browns also promoted interim offensive coordinator Freddie Kitchens to head coach. They relieved former defensive coordinator, interim head coach Greg Williams of his duties. Now, was that the right move? I'm not sure. But this is also the same Greg Williams who got in trouble in New Orleans for the Bounty Gate and everything. Yeah. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. Now, Freddie Kitchens did a good job as the interim offensive coordinator. The Browns started putting up more numbers with him at the calling the plays and such. So who knows? I think he's working well with Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Excuse me. I think I might have said Manziel earlier. I apologize about that. But Mayfield, he looks good. So hopefully Kitchens can help him out there in Cleveland. But also Jets, they've got their new coach, Adam Gase from Miami. They wanted someone who can help groom QBs. Another situation with a young QB. That's where the league is going. I think someone said on ESPN the other day, I was watching it. You're going to see seeing the Sean McVay effect, where
Yeah.
you got a great X's and O's guy who wants to be with a young QB and help that young QB develop, and that young QB wants to be with an X's and O's guy. So I mean, do you like either? Do you like do you like the Jets move? Do you like the Browns move? I mean, Obed. I mean, is it good situations in either spot there?
I don't like the Browns move. I like the Jets move because Adam Gase was just missing a quarterback. Adam Gase was just missing the ability to work with a person who he could say, hey, this is what we want to do, and you can make the throw, right? You can, I will move the pieces around you. Now, his decision making of having Frank Gore out there, my goodness, that man, unbreakable, right? Like he might as well call him Bruce Willis, right? But no, I think I don't like the move as far as the Browns because that Freddie Kitchens doesn't have the coordination, head coach experience to be the guy in charge of everything, right? He doesn't have that experience yet. Now, Greg Williams, did you want Greg Williams to be the head coach? Probably not. Did you want Greg Williams to agree that, hey, Greg, your job is to make sure the defense is good. Leave Freddie Kitchens alone to work with this kid. Maybe that's what you needed to work out and iron out. But you literally valued Freddie Kitchens so much that you didn't want to lose him. It seemed like a very pro Baker Mayfield move. And I was like, if Baker is now calling the shots of what the ownership wants to do out there, Baker better deliver. Right? You cannot have a sophomore slump that gets you guys bottomed out of the league. You better deliver. So I like the Jets move. I don't like the Browns move.
Gotcha. And I think the biggest topic this kind of in the past few weeks is the drama going out in Pittsburgh, man.
Ooh, business booming.
Dude, what is up with your boy AB and the Steelers, dude? I mean, one of the top receiver, if not the top, maybe top two receivers in the NFL. There's some shaky waters in Pittsburgh. Rumor is he could be traded. Will they trade him? Should they trade him? I mean, for the last 6 seasons, he's had at least 101 catches and over 1,200 yards in every season for the past 6 years. And in the past 5 years, he's led the NFL in catches with almost 600. He's number 2 in yards per game, only behind Julio Jones, and number 1 in receiving touchdowns with almost 60. How can you trade that kind of talent away? He may be a diva. He may do that. He may film your coach in the locker room and put it on Facebook Live. He may take some chat snaps or whatever, some book face videos, whatever you call it. You know what I mean? But I don't get it. This kid, this guy, Antonio Brown is what, 31? Maybe not even?
Not even. He might be 30 this year. I think he might be turning 31.
Maybe not even. But still, how do you trade Antonio, even think about trading Antonio Brown from your team if you're the Steelers? I don't get it.
I think what has occurred here is there's a division, right? And this is why, AB makes the Uncle Tom reference and Ryan Clark says something. There is something in the water in Pittsburgh where you make a decision in your locker room that you are going to just drink the Kool-Aid of what the Steelers are selling you, or you are going to continue being your own person. Anyone who's decided that they are going to be their own person has now become outcast, has their back turned on them by, or have backs turned on them by their peers. This is not, we've seen this with Le'Veon Bell. Maybe there's something more going on there when now 2 of the best players on the team, who happen to be 2 of the best players in the NFL, no longer want to play here.
Right. That's crazy. You're going to lose in one fell swoop, and within 1 year, you're going to lose Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, arguably the 2 best players at their position.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe this is actually going to this could have been true. I made
the comment before, and it might be, I'm sorry to cut you off. It might be a little aggressive. It is Pittsburgh plantation mentality. I don't want to go down that route. Maybe it's aggressive to talk to the people, America. Let me know if I'm wrong here, but how do you feel that the players who are making everything for you, creating this success for you just said 6 seasons of at least 101 catches of 1,200 yards, leading the league and receiving touchdowns for a wide receiver. What more do you want? Why won't you make this person happy?
I just don't get, even with the Le'Veon Bell thing, they're like, oh, we pay the position, we don't pay the player. That's the Steelers' way. You do you mean he's arguably the best back in the league? What are you doing? Who cares about your tradition and blah blah blah? Pay the man, treat the man like the star that he is, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is the number one focus of an NFL team? To win.
Yes.
You know, in the illustrious words of my man Herm Edwards, hello, you play to win the game. You play to win the game. That's it. You play to win. You don't need to be friends. Like Antonio Brown doesn't need to be best friends with Ben Roethlisberger and chill with that dude on the weekends and pop bottles. You know what I mean? And play Fortnite together. No, they need to connect on the field and win football games.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't understand what Pittsburgh is thinking. Either way, let's say they do trade him, which is unfathomed to me. They trade Brown. I think they should ask for at least 2 first-round picks and maybe another pick. I mean, think about it. The Cowboys got Amari Cooper for a first-round draft pick, just for one.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is about 10 times better than Amari Cooper. I mean, not times, but, he's better than Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I think you ask for at least 2 first-round, maybe a first or maybe a first and 2 second-round picks, or some kind of combination. But I don't know what they're gonna get, but I think to me, if it was me, if I'm the Steelers, I'm asking for 2 first-round picks and maybe even a second round as well for Antonio, or maybe a third for Antonio Brown. Combination something like that.
Let me ask you this. After what we've seen with the Khalil Mack trade, a game changer went to another team. When a game changer goes to another team, they said, we want 2 firsts and want another pick out of that. Do you feel that Antonio Brown, in the same vein, is worth that amount?
I have to feel that he is, man. I mean, dude, like I said, you heard the numbers. You got the numbers there.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is, like I said, it's him and Julio Jones to me.
Yeah.
It's him, the one and two. Wherever you put, if you want to put Julio at 1, Julio, Brown at 1, whatever you want to do. It's him and Julio Jones, the top 2. Odell Beckham and Hopkins are right there, are behind.
Yeah.
But to give this man away, who's under contract, so they're not going to release him, because obviously you want to get something for him.
Yeah.
To give this man up, you've got to get something back for it. Now the other question is too, is Juju a number 1 receiver? Because he's going to be your number 1 now if he's going.
I almost want to go back and do my research. I didn't get a chance to on the different offenses that the Pittsburgh Steelers have featured, where they had a number 1 wide receiver and they just had somebody cooking underneath that in the second spot. And it's just been, the beat has just gone on and on. Whether it was Plaxico on the outside and Santonio Holmes, whether it was Santonio Holmes on the outside and then Emmanuel Sanders. You know what I mean? Like, just went on. Hines Ward just went on and on and on. So I think maybe they've had the luxury of having that second guy just be a beast without understanding that, like, your pipeline has always had a number 1 in it. The pipeline has a number 1 in it. It's Juju. Who's the guy underneath? Juju looked fantastic with Antonio Brown, one of the best, if not the number 2, the number 1, if not the number 1 and the number 2. On the other side of the field, taking all the attention, a guy who commands double coverage and still makes plays. Is Juju going to make plays on double coverage? I don't know that yet. Juju has been grinding on a sub-tier competition for the last 2 years easy, that it could be a stark wake-up call for the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to pass, that they roll out this offense and there is no number 2 that can cook up a second-tier cornerback.
Yeah. I just – right, because you're going to need – because if Juju's your number 1, you really have no real number 2. He's going to get double teamed all day long, Safety's going to come down and cover up top, so it's going to hurt them in the long run, I mean, the Steelers, they're kind of thin at wide receiver after that. I mean, you've got Darius Hayward-Bay, who's been a bit of bust.
32? How old is he right now?
Dude, I don't even know why he's still in the league. I'm surprised, maybe this kid James Washington. I don't know what they're going to do after.
He's a project.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they draft a receiver.
Maybe
this year.
Who knows? I don't know who's going to hit the open market. I don't think anybody's hitting the open. Well, Antonio Brown's hitting the open market, but
Yeah, I mean, but I just don't know. I think if I'm not mistaken, James Washington. They think he was a rookie this past year out of Oklahoma State. He played with Mason Rudolph at Oklahoma State, who
they drafted.
The Steelers actually drafted to be, I guess, their heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. But I just can't believe they're actually considering trading Antonio Brown. I still just can't get on board with this. I just can't believe it. Anyway, let's move on. We got some good playoff games scheduled for this weekend. Starting with today. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's kind of recap last week really quick. Of course, in the AFC, you had the Colts beat the Texans 21-7. They dominated that game. We were up 21-0 at one point. Yeah. Texans just looked flat, man. I'm not sure what happened there. Chargers beat the Ravens 23-17. Your boy Lamar Jackson looked awful. How do you not put in Flacco at some point in that second half?
Maybe something contractually that says his money is guaranteed for injury alone, and we can't have him get hurt and know that he's going out the door, take a whole buttload of money with him, And I get it. You got here with Lamar Jackson, but you obviously don't spend enough time teaching him to throw, working on throwing. And I don't know what it is about non-Anglo-Saxon quarterbacks when they come up in the ranks, how much quarterbacks want them to continue running as opposed to stay in the pocket and work on his ability to read the defense, read his reads, make a decisive throw, send him to a pitcher coach, let him work on his mechanics. They don't do that for non-Anglo-Saxon quarterbacks, so this is what you end up seeing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You can tell he's just not comfortable as a pocket passer. No. He steps back. He takes one read, and if it's not there, he's gone. Mm-hmm. You're not going to survive in the league this way. He's got to get that together. They've got to coach him better. They've got to do now. Is Flacco probably going to be on his way out of Baltimore? Yeah, it seems like it. But, I mean, the guy didn't have 40 yards passing in the first half. Let me say it again. He didn't have 40 yards.
This high school Pop Warner teams, I think you are at least getting 40 yards passing.
Dude, I can throw that in a flag game right now. Like, what do you mean? Like, come on. It's like, I can't. You have your Super Bowl winning quarterback right there, ready to go. I get it. Lamar got you there. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's do or die. This is the playoffs, baby. You know what I mean? Like, you can't risk it.
If I told you, Sherman, that going into the season, we revamped the wide receiver core. We're going to bring you Michael Crabtree. We're going to bring you Willie Snead. We're going to bring you John Brown. We're going to get a bunch of rookie tight ends who have looked very, very good as of late and try to have some running backs back there behind you. Would you ever think that you would look at their playoff game and say that you didn't have 40 yards in the first half?
Yeah, no, not at all. I just can't believe that one. That was a rough one for the Ravens, though. On the NFC side, Cowboys beat the Seahawks 24-22. The Cowboys looked good in that one. That was really good. That was a very good game. And the Eagles barely made it out of Chicago, 16-15. Oh man, that kicker.
Honestly, I don't, because I feel like it was a bad beat. Right. Yes, I think it was a great play to at least the game of inches. The game of inches, right? Just getting a fingertip on that ball coming off of Cody Parkey's foot, right? He didn't miss the kick; it got tipped. And I can't stand people who are just like, oh well, he should have kicked it higher. Many times over, you look at kickers, they kick through the icing, right? Kick through the icing, you made it. Most of them will do something completely different, because they saw, it hooked a little bit in. Let me just push it a little bit this way, and it goes completely awry. He was like, nah, I'm going to kick it the exact same way because it was good. He kicked it the exact same way, but it got tipped this time, right? And it missed off by centimeters. But they snuck out of it.
Yeah, and the thing I don't like, as I had this conversation with a colleague of mine earlier this week, being a kicker is a rough spot in the NFL. As a kicker, that's a position I would not want. The two best positions to me in the NFL are third string quarterback and punter. Yep. Because you're getting paid to do your job, and no one cares if you mess up. If you're the third string QB and you come into the game, you're probably going to mess it up anyway. No one cares. And if you're the punter, no one cares if you have a bad punt. Let's be honest. And you still get to get paid. But being a kicker, there's so much pressure. What I don't like about when kickers miss kicks at the end of games like that, they blame the whole thing. It's the kicker's fault. We lost the game because of him. All the media wants to blame it on him. I was watching ESPN this week. Rex Ryan said, it's absolutely his fault. It's absolutely his fault.
That's why Rex Ryan is at a desk now. Stop it.
Yeah. I was like, let me ask you this. If he had made that kick, would you have said they won the game merely because of the kicker?
No. Exactly. They would have sprinkled the credit everywhere. They would have said Trubisky was clean. The defense was amazing. Da-da-da-da-da.
The coach is great. Right, exactly. Yeah. So just blaming it all on the kicker, I think, is disingenuous. I don't think it's the right thing to do. And also the fact that you can't really blame the entire game on that kicker, Why didn't the offense score more points? Why did the defense give up 16 points? You play a
Trubisky 300
game.
yards a game, 4 touchdowns a game. Where's the points?
Yeah. Right, exactly. There are 3 phases to a game: offense, defense, and special teams. You cannot blame it on one instance. Even if you missed a kick earlier in the game, why did the defense stop the other team earlier in the game? You know what I mean? So you can't. I just don't like how people say, "Oh, it's down to that one play, that one instance. It's all his fault." I completely disagree with that. But
I echo exactly what you said. I honestly, why let it come down to him at the first place, right? If you feel like there's 3 phases to this game, why didn't you do your job on the other parts of the game so that knowing this kicker who misses kicks is not going to go out here and kick for our lives?
Right. Exactly. Why didn't you put up 30 points? Why did you give up 16 to the Eagles? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the same thing. You got to look at it from every side of the spectrum. Either way, let's move on to this week's games, the divisional round matchups. Starting today, Saturday, we've got the Colts at the Chiefs. I'm going to go Chiefs, of course. My homie, Mahomes, he's going to do his thing, led the league with 50 touchdowns this year. They're in Kansas City. The weather's going to be kind of iffy. They said they expected I think they had some snow earlier in the day this morning. I think it's going to pass over by game time, which is about 4:30 Eastern. I'm definitely going to go with the Chiefs here in this one, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I'm still going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, so last weekend we watched first-time quarterbacks not look good out there. And even with all of the negative history of the Chiefs in the playoffs, they did play this playoff game before, and the Colts came back up on 28-point deficit to beat them. Right. I don't know if we're going to see that same kind of an outcome here. I think if the Chiefs get a 28-point lead, they're not giving it up and they're not turning back. That being said, what the Colts have put together by keeping Andrew Luck clean with finally an offensive line, something Ryan Grigson refused to pay the cachet for to put together. Marlon Mack running for 148 and 2 tugs last week. My God. And they have a defense. I don't know if the Chiefs have a defense. Eric Berry will not be out there. Sammy Watkins will not be out there. Kareem Hunt won't be there.
Sammy Watkins might be playing today, they said. They just heard.
Really? Okay, well. They need playmakers on offense because I don't think you're going to get by with just the Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce show, knowing that they had 5 options beginning of the season. Now they're down to about 3.5. Depending on who comes out of the backfield. I think Damian Williams has looked good, but hopefully he keeps that going. He was the backup in Miami for a reason. I don't know why, but hopefully we won't find out. I like the Colts in this one. They've just been here so often. They've been here before. They're coming back from 1-5. I don't know what that level of the sunken place is like, but they've clawed their way out of it. I have to give the edge to a 35-34 game. It'd be a barn burner. They'll have to put up points. And I think the Colts can do that. Andrew Luck could come out here and throw for 4 touchdowns. He might have 3 picks with that one, but he could throw for 4 and keep it interesting.
So are you going with the Colts or the Chiefs here?
Going with the Colts.
Colts. All right. I like it. In that game tonight is the Cowboys at the Rams. I think this is going to be the best matchup of the weekend. I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm going to pick the Rams. It's in L.A. Now, I'll say this. Dallas beat New Orleans. New Orleans beat the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be – I don't think it's going to be as a high-scoring game that people expect, Rams to put up, their offensive power. I'm going to say Rams 24-21 here. Maybe it could be even 24 to 17, but I'm going to say 24-21 Rams.
So I am going to echo everything you said and add to that Todd Gurley has not practiced and has rested for a month. I would be afraid of what Todd Gurley, with all of that rest coming into the postseason, is going to look like. I don't care what that defense. Half of what the Cowboys are able to get away with has been non-calls on strong defense. The league is allowing the Cowboys to play the way that they let the Ravens play. Vander Esch and the other guy are flying around, helmet to helmet, hitting people, and the cornerbacks are jumping in the air, just flailing their arms. That's pass interference. Why are you not calling it? At any rate, I could see on the back of Todd Gurley, because Todd Gurley changes the things you can do on offense. I could see them put up 35 points in this game out in the sun. I think that the Cowboys might only put up 21, 28 maximum, but because they just don't have the offensive firepower. And we know a matchup out there that is very, very old as day. Amari Cooper, Aqib Talib. Amari Cooper never gets the best of Aqib Talib. We'll see what happens. But I got it. It's one of the Rams.
Gotcha. Sunday's games, Chargers at Patriots. I'm pulling for Phillip Rivers in this game. I want Phillip Rivers to go all the way.
Yeah.
He's, like I said, I mentioned it before. He's a Hall of Fame QB without a Super Bowl ring. Never even made it to the Super Bowl. But nonetheless, you know what? I'm going to go Chargers. I was going to go Patriots just now. I know what? I'm going to go Chargers. Even though because I'm pulling for Phillip Rivers, I think the Chargers are actually playing better football than the Patriots this year. Melvin Gordon is hopefully he's out there. He's healthy enough. You got Austin Eckler. Keenan Allen has had a great year as well for the Chargers. Brady had it off year, only threw for 29 touchdowns this season. His lowest in a really long time. Gronk is always banged up. But they've had a week off, which is good. But I'm gonna go Chargers in a nail biter here. I'm gonna say 35-32 Chargers.
Okay, I could see that. Honestly, I'm hoping it goes the other way. We're talking about two teams here. The 12-win Charger team that we're talking about here. Great defensive ends, great secondary. They absolutely have a fantastic run game. Last time these two teams played, I'm pretty sure the Chargers beat the Patriots in like a 21-13 game. Had an 82-yard run for a touchdown by Melvin Gordon. The Chargers came out and played really well. That being said, this is a team that is coming from California. They're going to be jet lagged. It's going to be cold as all hell in New England. And it's playoff football in New England. It's a hard place to win in the playoffs, especially with this team being rested and at least knowing these guys very well, having a lot of experience in the postseason in the regular season against these guys, not in the postseason against them. And it's always a nail biter between the two of these teams. I feel like the Chargers against the Ravens last week only scored 23 points. They won, but they got 3 turnovers off of the quarterback alone. If the Pats get 3 turnovers from the Chargers, the Pats will probably score 45 points. You can't have that many turnovers. And then, literally, if the Ravens had a passable, he could make some of the throws quarterback, I think that game would have been completely different. They came back mildly at the end there. And if, there was just enough touch on the ball, a few more plays that could be made. Tom Brady is not going to miss as many plays. He's not going to have 40 yards at the halfway mark of this game.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So,
but I was going to say, if Joey Bosa gets to Tom Brady, it's a whole other game. That's why if he gets to him and rattles him early, it's going to be a different game.
Yeah. Or Melvin Ingram. Hey, if all the attention is on Joey Bosa, you still got to worry about Melvin Ingram. That's the Melvin I'm more concerned about in this game more than Melvin Gordon. I think Melvin Gordon will have a good game. You can run a little bit on the pass, but if they end up shutting down the run, if they stuff you, it's not like he doesn't have Keenan Allen out there. It's not like he doesn't have Mike Williams out there. And we might see the resurgence of Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, these other secondary guys who don't get a lot of shots thrown at them that if you wanted to come out and show a different look, they could hurt you.
You can. Right. So I'm assuming you're going Patriots in this one?
I am going Patriots all the way. If it ain't from New England, I don't want
it. I feel you. Last matchup of the weekend is Philly at New Orleans. I'm going Saints all the way here. I think it's just too much firepower on the New Orleans side. The Nick Foles magic, I think, is going to run out this week. I mean, they'll still put up 15 to 20 points because let's say New Orleans defense isn't that great.
Listen to what we're talking about here. We're talking about the defending Super Bowl champions, talking about this is their year, they're built for this, putting up 15 points, talking about they're going to put up 20. That is championship football?
Dude, I mean, like I said, now they only put up, was it 16 against Chicago? Obviously, because Chicago's the best defense. But I think playing in New Orleans, in that dome, with that noise, with that New Orleans pass rush, it's a different aspect than it's playing outdoors in Chicago. So that's why I'm saying, in New Orleans, when you play the Saints at home, it's hard to really get after them, and really come out, with a W there. So I'm going Saints all the way in this one. I'm saying Saints 38-20 in this one here.
I can see Saints 38. I can see Saints at least in the 40s. Listen, I've never heard of a coach rolling out with 250 large and a Lombardi trophy on it talking about, you want this? I've never heard like that. All right, like those guys are hungry for something. I don't know if money is the best thing motivator for NFL football. You gotta want glory. You gotta
Yeah.
want the ability to say that you won and you beat the hell out of those Bamas. That being said, I think going into the Sugar Dome, excuse me, going into the Mercedes-Benz is a hard place to play. So yeah, I could see them getting some in the 40s. I see Michael Thomas going out there catching 13 balls.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara 100 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. I could see these guys playing for their lives.
Yeah, and especially Philly's secondary is so beat up. So I think Breeze is going to have a field day with these guys. I mean, maybe the Eagles put up, I don't know, 28 points,
Yeah.
but I definitely see the Saints coming out with at least a 10-point victory here in this one. So yeah, I think that's that. But yeah, the Saints are definitely winning this one. Anyway, that wraps up. That's our time for this week. Obed, I appreciate you again and once again joining me here today. As always, I look forward to the next one, man.
Yes, sir. It's good. Been great. Been fantastic. Appreciate it. I think first time out the gate as a co-host, I think I did okay.
Absolutely, man. Anyway, man, good to see you, sir. And I'll meet up with you next time. All right.
Take care.
Peace.